Hi, folks. A quick trigger warning. There is just a very brief mention of thoughts of self harm in this piece. So please take care of yourself during this episode. And if you or someone you know is struggling or in any sort of crisis, help is available. 988 is the suicide and crisis lifeline in the United States. It's available 24/7, and there are advocates there who speak English and Spanish. The bucket, formerly known as silver linings. This sort of thing is old hat for me, and I'm a huge silver linings person. I'm really just looking for help coping with my current condition and celebrating what I am learning from it. And so began the latest in my decades long series of relationships where I bear all of my most humiliating truths, the ugliest bits that make it hard for even me to face myself after revealing them. I've sometimes revealed these truths within mere minutes of first meeting, said compadre, and they still look me in the eye after I've divulged the unsightliness within me. They look with compassion, even. I'm talking about therapy. Said compadre is my therapist. There, I said it. My name is Amy, and I do therapy. And guess what? I'm cool with it. And for those of the wiser, younger, more liberated generations than this haggard Gen Xer, being cool with doing therapy, nay, needing therapy, is so benign it's not worth the words I'm wasting here. But for us crustier folks, coming to accept that we might not only reveal our deepest, darkest bits to an outsider, but pay them to somehow guide us on a self-chosen journey toward disentangling those pieces and then admitting in a public forum that we've done so, well, to quote the incomparable, intrepid investigative journalist and a personal hero of mine, Mandy Matney, now that's a big deal. Put another way, and to borrow from another of my heroes, the one and only Ms. Katie Couric, from when I told her on her very own show that maternal instinct is a myth, it's blasphemy. I'm a lucky son of a gun because in all my decades in this series of relationships, all but two of my compadres, aka therapists, have been fantastic. Some months after that cheery intro to my most recent and still current and very much beloved compadre, aka therapist, I walked into her office and declared silver linings to be absolute bullshit. I wasn't sure at the time what that meant for my future, but I knew I was very much over trying to find a glimmer of good in every experience. Nothing was good about long COVID. Friends were dropping like flies. I couldn't connect on the regular with my number one, my partner in crime, my best mate, my boo, in the ways that I wanted, and he was stuck doing all of the crappy work of maintaining our home, plus taking care of me. My employer was threatening to let me go and doing its level best to make life as hard as possible as long as I tried to stay. My insurers demanded so much documentation and issued so many initial denials that following their orders could reasonably be considered my full-time side hustle, if only it were a paid gig or at all gratifying. Being sick was fucking expensive, and not being able to work full-time was making us poorer by the minute. I looked fine on the outside and felt like shit on the inside. This, I learned quickly, meant having to always be prepared for funny looks when using that wheelchair or that handicap sign in the car. And speaking of the car, I could no longer drive because I couldn't pass the driver's sobriety test on a completely sober brain. Vertigo for the win. My favorite activities: live music, downhill skiing, scuba diving, travel, wine tasting, late night deep chats with pals, weird museums, supporting local art, spreading the good word about reproductive justice, roller skating, were either extraordinarily difficult or outright impossible. And I was nauseous all the time. These were just a few of the not good things about long COVID. So, for a good long while, I gave up on silver linings. Where's the silver in that long list of shit? I even thought about ending it all. Death by puppies, I called it. I would arrange, somehow, exact details were yet to be determined, to have a shit ton of puppies in my bed, take a shit ton of sleepy pills, and fade away in the soft, cuddly kisses of loving puppies. And I would no longer be anyone's problem. Puppies and pills. I mean, there are far worse ways to go, no? But then a strange thing happened. I started to feel sort of, kind of, almost okay. Like maybe not terrible. I mean, I still felt physically terrible, but the mental anguish began to feel a little less anguishy. I started leaning into friendships and friends who showed me they believed me and were here for me in whatever way I showed up. I began to believe my boo when he told me he was doing okay, and that we would and that we were finding ways of staying connected. I found out I have value beyond my career, and that there are people who will read what I have to say or listen to my words, whether filtered through layers of bureaucratic, paywalled, self important peer review or not. And that felt good, real good. Shortly after that meeting with my most recent and still current and very much beloved compadre, aka therapist, where I declared silver linings to be bullshit, I wrote a little ditty wondering what color might replace silver, but it was only after posting said ditty here on ye old Substack that a fellow stacker shared a brilliant suggestion that I've been leaning into and loving. It was Christina Van Dyke, a fellow Substacker, who said, "I so feel you. How about having a midnight blue period? It's dark and also mysterious, gorgeous, and a lovely color of abyss to shout into. Eventually, maybe tiny golden stars will appear, but it can just be deep, dark velvet, almost but not quite black midnight at blue until then. And that's okay. You can sink into it and just be still." I said it then, and I'll say it again. I love this so much. Midnight blue it is. I've been leaning into midnight blue so heavily that you'd never know that a few years ago, I wrote the following list. Things that are overrated. 1, navy blue. 2, horses. 3, chocolate. Google assures me that there is a slight difference between midnight and navy blues, midnight being slightly darker in tone, so much so that it's sometimes even mistaken for black. So I guess I can stand by my list. Thank the baby Jeebus, because ain't nobody got time for navy blue or horses or chocolate. I've been digging in deep on midnight blue, aka not navy. It's the perfect color for meditation. It's the perfect color for disappearing when that's what I want to do. And as Christina, who made the original suggestion herself, says, there's an opportunity for tiny golden stars to appear if and when I'm ready for that. But it will be on my schedule, on my terms. There's so much nuance and complexity with midnight blue. For me, silver's got nothing on it. Welcome to Nevertheless Persisting, a show inspired by a moment in time about the moments we persist through over time. I'm Dr. Amy Blackstone. In 2020, I boarded a plane. I caught a virus. It changed everything. Having sociology to make sense of it all kept me sane. I'm a public sociologist, and I'm sharing a lens that could change everything for us all. In this podcast, I'm joined by my husband, Lance. We're a couple of sick and tired child-free Gen Xers who lament the idiocracy that surrounds us, propose solutions we expect will go ignored, and take a moment to check in and take stock. Hey, Lance.
Hey.
So what's your position on navy blue?
Well, they say that we hate what we fear. But seriously, maybe not seriously, it is funny to me that recently you bought and have been wearing a hoodie that looks a whole lot like faded navy blue.
Oh, it's faded, so it's not navy blue.
And so in the famous words of the Princess Bride, I don't think that color means what you think it means.
That is really funny. Couple thoughts. One, you said faded, so it's not quite navy blue in my defense. I also will give you, I have discovered a few items in my wardrobe recently that appear to be navy blue, and I'm a little ashamed. I think I'm starting to like it.
Hmm.
So I did write that list in 2022. I maintain that chocolate and horses, I mean, the horses are fancy cows. There's no getting around it. Chocolate, meh, boring. Everybody loves chocolate. I mean, if you're like everybody else, I guess chocolate's great, but whatever.
I find your disdain for horses hilarious.
I don't
Because
think
honestly, I don't know where it comes
it's
from.
not a disdain. They're just
Yeah,
they're
it's
overrated.
disdain. And when it comes to chocolate, I think you were force-fed too much carob as a child. And I think you had too many bean sprouts and wheatgrass. And I think that you don't know what good chocolate is, but that's fine because you can just leave it all for me.
I think we could go on for hours about
I think we
this
have.
topic. Okay, enough said, enough said. Moving on. Couple of themes here that I would like to discuss regarding this here post. One, it's less about silver linings, I think. So forget the silver linings, midnight blue thing. Let's toss that whole thing out now that we've spent about 20 minutes on it. I think it's really more about finding meaning in our experiences and making life matter, whatever our circumstances. So even though I've spent the last now 5.5 years of this chronic health condition trying to find some silver lining, some positive out of this shitty experience, I'm beginning to realize maybe that's not the goal, and maybe the goal is really just making meaning. Another thought I had related to this post is that beyond acceptance and even beyond finding hope and optimism is something more essential, at least for me, and that is joy and even fun. So those are the two things that I wanted to talk about.
All right. Well, since we're completely just doing away with this whole concept of silver linings, I'd like to bring it back to silver linings.
Okay.
Yeah, 100% that I agree with you that this is really about finding meaning. I think that a lot of times the whole silver linings thing is kind of almost fatalistic or some notion of destiny, right? Like this thing had to happen in order for this other maybe good thing to happen. And that is always problematic to me. You should have learned something. Ideally, you would have learned that before the bad thing happened. It's that kind of reaching for something good out of something bad, and that's kind of, there's an unhealthy aspect to it. But I do think we have to make our own meaning in all cases, and finding meaning in a bad situation is okay as long as you're learning from it.
Yes. I like that point about learning, and that is, to me at least, significantly different from finding a positive,
Yeah,
like making a positive
I think
spin.
that my main point would be sometimes bad shit happens,
Right.
and it happens for no reason,
Yes.
and there's nothing to learn from that, right? Like if you had no control, if there was nothing that could have been done differently, you were just unlucky. You're in a bad place at the wrong place at the wrong time, kind of thing.
Right.
And that happens.
Right.
So the constant, this is just like human 101, right?
Yeah.
Like we're the heroes of our own story, and we always think, a lot of we like to think that things happen for a reason, and we like to ascribe meaning to things that where there is no meaning, and that's what makes us comfortable, as if we can categorize or name or whatever
Right.
something.
Right.
And personally, I think that, there's a higher level of existence where sometimes there is meaning.
Right.
Sometimes there are reasons.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's not.
Right.
And, trying to force a round peg into a square hole just because it makes you feel more comfortable, that's not healthy.
Right. I mean, that is the thing. One of the biggest things I've been struggling with over the last 5+ years is this, like, okay, I had this fateful moment and I can pinpoint the exact second, sitting in an office, having a conversation, making a decision about whether I get on an airplane or not, that changed the course of my life. And I have thought, you know, if I was a person who believed in God, probably I would be telling myself, God chose for me that I was going to say yes to getting on that airplane because my life at the time was so stressful and I needed to slow down. And God decided for me that this was me slowing down and finding a bigger meaning in life, and blah, 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 bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. I'm an atheist, and that's not the takeaway I have. And so one of the things I've struggled with is, well, life fucking sucks, and I drew the short straw
Yeah.
and fuck everybody. But I also don't want that to be my takeaway. So I've been working on this, but I also notice now that I have 5 years of hindsight and thought and meditation, I have learned to appreciate that I've learned how to slow down. And I am grateful for many of the lessons that I've gotten. And I'm also really still fucking pissed off. But I'm starting to appreciate all of those lessons.
Right.
And I guess that's part of the point I'm making, is that it's not just about finding all the good. And I think that's the problem with the silver linings thing, is the desperate seeking for only positive.
Right. Well, and I think also it's the tying it to an event, right? Like this,
Yeah.
COVID especially is something that is so, you happen to get sick because you chose to get on a plane at that particular moment. But that was at the very beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
You would have gotten sick some other time.
Right.
And would you have gotten long COVID?
Who knows?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a very, I was lucky to avoid COVID for several years.
Yeah.
And, but eventually everybody's going to have it. And even if you never had acute symptoms, you probably had it.
Right.
You just happen to have an immune system that was good at combating it. So, I think that's the thing, right? Where you're tying something that happened to a very specific decision as if that was the only point this could have happened.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it's not.
Right.
It would have happened a month later.
Right.
It would have happened 2 months later or a year later.
Yes.
And you might be in exactly the same situation you're in right now. So there's not really some sort of fundamental, I mean, I guess we could argue that you could have gone into a bunker and never exposed yourself to another human. But,
right.
I guess that's a choice. But you wouldn't have done that.
Right.
And you would have gotten COVID at some point. And so you probably would be where you are right now.
Right.
Just slightly later.
Yep. Related to this point, I also want to share an article that I read in the International Journal of Qualitative Studies on health and well-being.
I love that mag.
Yeah, I know. By a couple of Dutch researchers who interviewed...
Oh, is this Lieberworth and Niemeyer?
Yes.
Oh, I love those guys.
I know, right? And
Gals.
I'm glad you pronounced their last names, because you're more familiar with how to pronounce the names of people from Utrecht.
Yeah, I would guess it's Lieberworth and Niemeyer. I probably butchered the last one. I could still be butchering them.
I butchered Utrecht. You can pronounce that better than me.
All right.
Say it.
Utrecht.
Thank you. Anyway, so they interviewed just 10 people. So it's a small sample, but, research on people with long COVID is new and emerging. I keep saying the same thing over and over again. It's like I have long COVID or something.
I haven't noticed.
In their interviews,
it's like I have long COVID or something.
They wanted to understand how people with long COVID talk about and think about and cope with social isolation and loss, physical and cognitive loss. And so they wrote this article about that and patients' feelings and coping with lost and changed meaning in life. And there were two quotes in particular regarding both acceptance and where long COVID patients place their focus today that I wanted to share because they were really striking and helpful for me. And I thought they might be helpful for others. May I share them?
Do continue.
Okay. First, from the article, for some, working on acceptance is the meaning made from being ill. For example, Bianca expressed, actually, it's all a big lesson in becoming Zen, which I love because I totally relate to that. By which I mean that you can kind of accept what's going on. It remains difficult to find meaning in an experience of suffering and loss so hard to accept. Anyway, I love the point about it. This whole thing is a big lesson in becoming Zen, totally relatable. And then another quote, lacking knowledge about their illness's cause, trajectory, and unpredictable and debilitating symptoms makes it difficult to work on bigger goals and look long term. Instead, patients are forced to view life more day by day, managing symptoms and working with changing limits each day. Demi mentioned, for instance, quote, my meaning in life used to be focused more on the future, but now it is more focused on the present. Looking ahead is simultaneously helpful and disappointing. Again, totally relatable. And I have completely shifted the way that I think about my day to day because I often can't even think about the next hour.
Yeah. So I I can relate to that. I don't think I've mastered acceptance with my illnesses part as far as that goes, but I do think that a lifetime of dealing with chronic issues, both with my mother and myself, um, kind of prepped me for the notion of limitations.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still a pain in the ass when you think you've got things under control and then something comes along that's unplanned, like suddenly there's more to do that wasn't anticipated, or yeah, I just find that I don't have the capacity I thought I did. Like I just run out of fuel earlier than I thought I would. And I think for us, we're constantly making plans that just fall apart.
Yep.
The old "no plan survives contact with the enemy" saying, and the enemy's long COVID here. But
Yeah.
the the other thing I'll add to this is I think also my career in software development has also kind of the kind of mindset that you can make plans, but you always have to be in a position where those plans change, right? So like whether it's we thought we were going to build this thing and it turns out something else is more important, or it turns out we just didn't need to do as much as we thought we did and it was good enough, and something else is more important. So just kind of this in my world, my professional world, we're always planning towards something, but you have to allow for ambiguity, because if you commit too hard to something, you're always going to be surprised, because whatever you plan is eventually not going to be quite right. So you're constantly spending your time planning, but then course correcting, planning, course correcting, planning, course correcting. So not holding on tightly to what you think is going to happen just makes everything easier, because you're not committed so heavily that
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to mentally shift to something else.
Yeah.
So I think, at the risk of a silver lining, trying to get stuff done, still getting stuff done, still living life, still having fun and joy and stuff like that, but just reducing your horizon for what you expect to happen in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think is really useful, but it also forces you, if you really want that thing that's going to be way out there, you really have to get your shit together and start chipping it away at it very incrementally and make progress in those small enough, bite-sized enough pieces that at some point it happens because you've kind of knocked those things off.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it much more urgent in terms of like, I really have to start on this if I want to ever get this done.
Yeah.
But I also have to figure out how to make those pieces small enough that I can fit it into my ability to do whatever I can do. Don't focus on what you can't do. Don't focus on what's not getting done.
Right.
Focus on what is getting done. The list of things that you can't do is always infinitely bigger than the list of things you can do.
Right.
So we can always find anxiety if we want to.
No, thank you. Speaking of not angsting, shall we move to theme 2, which is joy and
Yeah.
fun? Okay. Beyond acceptance, I think more essential is joy and fun. And I think that the complexity and the depth of color that is midnight blue allows for the discovery of new opportunities for joy and fun that long COVID opened up to me. And it's not that I want long COVID. No, thank you. But I have to admit that it has led to a few experiences that I wouldn't have had, I don't believe, if I didn't have it. So, one is that I've met so many incredible people that I wouldn't have met. I've talked about the patient led research collaborative that I'm involved in. I've met other activists and change makers in my own home state of Maine because I have long COVID that I probably wouldn't have otherwise met. And that's been incredible. I had the chance to write a bill and lobby for it and testify in favor of it. And I won't say that that was necessarily a joyous or fun experience, but it was an experience I'm super glad to have had. And I truly just do not give a fuck about an incredible number of things that I used to care greatly about. And that is one of the most joyful things I have ever experienced.
Yeah. I'm enjoying your not giving a fuck about a lot of things as well.
Sweet.
Yeah, there's so many things that really just don't matter that we spend so much time worrying about. I think that, everything that we choose to do comes with some, set of consequences, and we then get to, sometimes we think we know what those consequences are, and often we might know some of them, but we often don't know all of them. So it's up to us to figure out what we are going to do with them. And, we the better we get at kind of letting go of shit that really doesn't matter, the happier.
It's toward the end of our day where
the happier we are. I think the better we are at prioritizing things that matter, the happier we are. The more we focus on what we can do, I already said this, and the less we focus on what we can't, the happier we are.
happier.
And,
Happier.
I mean, basically, this is like the serenity prayer, right?
Right.
It's almost like some people thought about this.
The less we worry about horses, chocolate, and navy blue, the happier we all are. Because, come on. Overrated, overrated, overrated.
I do not feel like you're picking up what I'm putting down, but okay.
Oh, I thought I'd bring it, keeping weaving the theme of the podcast through the whole podcast.
Well, I think horses matter to some people, and chocolate certainly matters to me.
Okay, never mind. Carry on.
Yucking my yum, as the kids say.
Bringing it back to the International Journal of Qualitative Studies on Health and Well-Being, that magazine that you love so much. this is volume 18 now. We were on volume 19
I don't think
earlier.
I've read that
This
one.
is from 2023, so
Uh,
it goes back a little ways. But another study. This is on folks dealing with Parkinson's and MS, and this is a whole bunch of authors. So I'm sorry I can't name you all, but the lead author is Anna Carapellati.
your Italian is impeccable.
Anna I can't do it. I'm sorry. It's the end of my day. Anyway, Dr. Cara Paletti and her colleagues interviewed a bunch of MS and Parkinson's patients to learn about their experiences in a dance class. And I loved this piece because it was all about how they transformed their lived experiences in their bodies through this dance class.
So they found that dancing helped patients rediscover themselves and adapt to living with their chronic illnesses via 3 mechanisms. Escape. Dance allowed patients to rise above themselves and experience freedom from disease and its limitations. Expand. Dance helped patients discover new or different possibilities for their bodies, selves, and lives. With so many losses, jobs, energy, relationships, participants said they felt like their lives were becoming much smaller since becoming ill. And with dance, as one participant put it, it was just suddenly like now there's a whole new world out there to be explored. Another participant quote I love, I guess you love. I'm reading your.
Lance is reading my notes because I'm falling apart.
Another participant quote Amy loved from Expand. I'm just looking for different ways of traveling, and I'm learning very much so that it doesn't mean you literally have to go very far. And I think dancing is one way of doing that. Embrace. Dance helped participants come to embrace their whole body selves, learning to adapt or flow with challenges rather than reject their body selves and stay in a negative downward gloom state, as one participant put it. Some participants even said they ultimately became thankful for their illness because it awakened a new passion and opened the door to dancing, particularly in stimulating environments previously seen as exclusive. Importantly, this was seen as a silver lining, not a panacea. Yeah, I was going to say that kind of drifts into I could never have discovered dance had I not gotten sick. Like,
Yes.
to me, that's the distinction, right? Like you can be thankful for something without leveling this, it had to happen thing. My thoughts, that was super interesting. One of the things I thought was, I wonder how many of those people were actually avid dancers before this.
Not many, I remember. I mean,
Okay.
I can't tell you exactly, but I do remember from the article most of them
Right.
did not have dance experience.
Okay. Yeah, because I think it would be a very different experience for somebody who was like an avid dancer before.
Yes.
So this is really kind of like discovering something new I can do that I'm not limited by my condition from doing. It's not, I was a world-class dancer and I can still somewhat dance and get joy. Like maybe they can. But
Right. That's a good point. Because like I was thinking when I was reading it, I mean, we all know the expert level dancer that I am.
Uh-huh.
And so I was imagining myself in a dance class, and it actually sounded super fun because I love to dance, in spite of the expert level that I am.
Right.
I hope my friend Jamie's listening to this episode and she's getting some joy about me bragging about my dance expertise. I love watching dance. I love doing dance. Some people get joy out of watching me dance. And I think I imagine myself getting similar benefit out of a course like this. And it was cool to read about.
Just kind of coming back to the 3 E's, which were escape, expand, and embrace. To me, the escape piece kind of, it sounds like mindfulness. It's I am engaged in something that is fully occupying my attention, And so I'm focused on the here and now. And so the whole notion of being in flow and your attention is on this one thing and you're not thinking about lots of other things,
Yeah.
which I think inherently makes people happier. The expand is kind of the notion of you can do something in spite of your limits, and especially maybe something new that you've never
Right.
done before.
Yeah.
Which when you're doing something new, your only direction is up, right? Like your only way to go is get better at something. So I think that's also useful,
Yeah.
because you have this kind of human need to do something and find some success and become better at it. And then the embrace thing is, to me, is like a lot of not giving a fuck.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I'm going to do this regardless of how it feels, or what I shouldn't say how it feels, but what I look
What I
like,
look
or
like. Yeah.
whether I'm great at it or not, or whatever. I'm going to try this thing.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. And to the last point, I mean, that this embracing it, whatever it looks like, and the authors of the article making the point that this is a silver lining, not a remedy, not a cure, not a panacea. Um, we do have some suggestions, not remedies, for making all this shit better, but I've got some suggestions for people. Want to move on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. To paraphrase one of my favorite revolutionaries ever, Emma Goldman, and inspired by that last article, if I can't dance, fuck this shit. We need more dances and more dancing everywhere by everyone in all places at all hours of the day, because dancing just makes you feel good.
So this is real dancing or dancing and metaphorical dancing?
All of it.
Okay.
Yep. That's one solution I have.
Well, and apparently I anticipated not giving a fuck.
Yes.
Right.
And then, overall, I think one thing I've been proposing from the very beginning in this episode is the idea of replacing the concept of silver linings with midnight blue linings. And I guess I can't say I've been proposing it, since I stole it from Christina, the commenter on my Substack post, to begin with. But what do you think about that?
I feel like maybe you've lost touch with the source of this saying. Clouds do not have midnight blue linings. But as usual, you do you.
Thank you. I shall and I will. Carry on.
All right.
That's all I got.
That's all I got.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for persisting with us through this episode of Nevertheless Persisting. We drop new episodes on Wednesdays, long COVID willing, and you'll find us most places you can find podcasts. You can listen to our episodes ad-free on Patreon for just $5 a month. And you can also support us by sharing the podcast with a friend and leaving a 5-star review wherever you listen. Thank you so much for your support. It truly means the world. Until next week, keep on persisting.